action here.
Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. I'll start it, I'll sing it through, start the rounds. Land of the silver birch, home of the beaver, land where the mighty moose wanders at ease. Blue skies and rocky shores, I shall return once more. Boom diddy-yada, boom boom, boom diddy-yada, boom boom. Land of the silver birch, land of the silver birch, land of the silver birch, land where the moose, blue skies and rocky shores, blue skies and rocky shores, I shall return shores. Boom diddy-yada, boom boom, boom diddy-yada, boom boom, boom diddy-yada, boom boom. Land of the silver birch, home of the beaver, a land where the mighty moose wanders at ease. Blue skies and rocky shores, I shall return once more. Boom diddy-yada, boom boom, boom diddy-yada, boom boom.
First of all, may I please thank Reverend Dr. Walker for allowing this lodge, Codron Lodge 40, to assemble. And we thank the congregation of the North Shore Unitarian Church for allowing us to pay our last respects to our brother Andrew Rusty Singleton. He has fulfilled the obligation, and now it is time for us to fulfill the obligation. As a brief background, the Order of the Arrow is an entity within inside the Boy Scouts of America. It was formed to fashion some method to honor and recognize those youth who had demonstrated keen service to their country, to their communities, and to the Boy Scouts of America. In this way, the founder, Ian Raccoon, had selected the legend of the Delaware Indian to help demonstrate and recognize this youth elected recognition of fellow youth. It's for that reason we don the Indian garb today. The 12th part of the Scout Law is reverent. We would hope that our recognition of the traditions of the American Indian, the first people, the Native American, would also be respected and their traditions continue. And with that, I'll call upon the Chief. Brother Singleton has continued to fulfill his obligation. And again, it's now time for us to do our part towards the obligation.
Rusty was a member of Troop 17, Northfield, Illinois. He achieved his Eagle Scout in 1969. He was a member of the Makajuan staff from 1969 to 1977, maybe a little bit further. And I can confirm that his apple cobblers were the best. He was the honors master of our lodge in 1972. He was an ordeal example in 1971, along with our songmaster here today, Kirk Ergang. He was a Brotherhood advisor starting in 1989 and continuing into the 1990s, which I can tell you is no easy chore when you're dealing with youth such as Bill Crawford and our brother Steve Silka over here. Those guys were interesting to deal with. Rusty and Deb also together were, I got lucky and got them together to be Explorer advisors for a post. And together they had an Explorer post, started up in the 1970s, late 70s, about 77 or 78, and running through into the 1980s. More recently, Rusty was a member of the Makajuan Alumni Association, helping helping out with our various events. And he was a James E. West Fellow in 2014. So a little bit of Rusty's bio, discovering. So on to our ceremony.
We call ourselves the Order of the Arrow. The chief will now describe why the arrow is so fitting.
As a symbol of our order, the arrow has been fitly chosen. It must be straight and its point keen. Aimed high, its course is undeviated. Its direction is always onward and upward. For this reason, it's been chosen as a symbol of leadership in our order. The breaking of this arrow is a symbol of the end of strife and the beginning of peace. Here's the arrow. And also, please accept this new arrow, which is a symbol of Rusty's never-ending, never-wavering spirit and example. And now, Brother Mateo will guide us and help us lift our spirits.
Long ago, when bear and bison swarmed the forest and the prairie, the great and mighty chieftain looked down upon his people with love. When he saw them fighting, struggling, striving with the evil that abound, and he spoke to them in this wise. You who love the haunts of nature, love the moonlight on the water, love the sunshine on the meadow, love the wind among the branches, love the rushing of great rivers through their palisades of pine trees, love the thunder in the mountain, whose innumerable echoes bounce from prairie to cliffside. Remember these admonitions for guidance on your journey. And rest, Brother Singleton, for you know those splendors of nature well. Now rest in peace. In scouting, we'll miss your warm smile. In friendship, we will miss your warm handshake. You now go, as the Master has called you to the trail. We hope that you will help prepare the trail for us when our time comes as well. Go in peace, Brother Singleton. And if I may take just a moment, a brother who is not here, Andrew Grigorski, because I hope it's only a minor surgery, but he's in the hospital wishing desperately to be here. So we'll ask to keep him in our thoughts and prayer, because here on earth, Arnie has always been our keeper of the trail. So with that, we'll call this gathering of Lodge 40 to a close and ask, so mote it be.
So mote it be.
Hello, I'm Jim Sanders, and I'm honored. Dad asked me to share some scout memories I wrote down of my early childhood as Rusty. I was but a 10-year-old when I first met Rusty. I was a runny-nosed weeblo up at Makajuan for the first time on what was called Lad and Dad Weekend. And I remember going into the pine nursery just to the north of the West Camp field and seeing the commissioner's site and thinking that it was the coolest thing since the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. Truth be told, I was a bit intimidated by all the commotion going on in the site. But something caught my eye which I just couldn't help but be attracted to: the weather rock. To my amazement, here in the middle of some very serious scout craft activities, lashed logs, cook fire platforms, swinging monster monkey bridges, shelters of soaring canvas sheeting. In the middle of this was a satirical take on how to tell the weather. From a simple, sturdy tripod hung a fairly big rock, snugly held fast by some well-tied knots. The accompanying sign described how the weather rock functioned. When the rock was wet, it was raining. When the rock was swinging, it was windy. And when the rock was dry, the weather was fair. I thought it was hysterical. And so did the staff man standing next to it. He took delight in my delight and began talking to me about his camp gadget, good old Rusty Singleton. To me, Rusty cast a long shadow that day. And years later, when it was my turn to stand in the commissioner's sight and talk to young Weeblos, I would remember Rusty's example. He wasn't satisfied to hew to the same well-trodden path of standard commissioner site scoutcraft. Rusty was playful and a bit irreverent in his approach. He was obviously such a master at scouting and working with youth that he was able to riff on it whimsically, much like Dizzy Gillespie might riff on a jazz standard. The conversation I began with Rusty all those years ago helped start a lifelong friendship with him. And when I think of the people whose shoulders I stand on and who influenced me in my love for scouting, I know Rusty is part of that crowd.